If there's one thing I want, it's to help more people who are going through the criminal justice system. I want those people to come out successfully with their dignity intact and with opportunities to prosper and live a life of meaning and relevance and dignity. That's what everyone on our team at Prison Professors really aspires to build, is really to disrupt the mindset of the best possible outcomes. That all starts with being aware of opportunities. And in this module, as you should know by now, because now we're working through the assessment, you should know that the decisions you make early are going to influence what happens later. But if your head's not in the game, if you're not aware, you are not going to see, hey, how's what I'm doing right here going to put me in a position to get better outcomes over here? So I want to share kind of this story of how those seeds that we plant very early on can lead to a phenomenal life. Now, if you've read the entire book, Earning Freedom, you kind of know this story, or at least I hope you do, but maybe, some people absorb knowledge by reading better. Some people absorb knowledge by listening better. Some people absorb knowledge by a combination of listening and seeing, hence the video. But all of us have to test our knowledge, and that's why I'm going to ask you to pay close attention, because we always have to do these assessment quizzes, but the little secret, as you know by now, is I'll give you the answers to all the quizzes. So, I want to tell you some of the seeds that I started to sow very early in the journey and how those seeds helped not only me become aware of opportunities that I could take advantage of or create, but also they made other people aware of me. And it really all started when an officer, a teacher inside of a jail, his name was Officer Wilson. I can't reach out to him now because I don't know his first name, and 30 years have passed, but I was still locked inside a jail during pretrial detention. And I remember I'd just been convicted and I was facing life without parole. And the officer passed me this book about, and it told me the story of Socrates. And it was a story of the Republic. And I don't know if it was the Crito, the first one, or if I read the Crito first. I just remember it was an officer that passed me the book. This is before I found a treasury of philosophy. But in that book, I learned that I've got to stop thinking of my own problems and start thinking about the people I wanted to meet in the future. And I knew who I wanted to meet in the future. I wanted to meet people that were very different from the people like me, like who I was at that time in my life, and all the other people inside the jail. Because I felt to myself, I really had some self-loathing going on. I didn't like who I was. I didn't like that the newspaper was covering me as a drug dealer. I didn't like that my parents were embarrassed by what I had done, or my sisters were embarrassed. I didn't like any of that stuff. So I wanted to become something different. And I had to start thinking about those people that I wanted to meet in the future. And that process, or that exercise of visualizing those people, helped me to think about, what can I do? What do I have to do right now so that when I get out of here, I'll be different? And that is what influenced me to pursue that three-pronged path of getting an education, of contributing to society in meaningful, measurable ways, and of building a strong support network. And it led me to start sowing seeds that would eventually get me into college, continue sowing seeds to develop my vocabulary. It led to me working to get credits, one and the other. And I remember being in the penitentiary and I needed a mentor. And that's when I started writing letters. And I found that fella, Bruce McPherson, who'd come to visit me inside of prison. And he helped me learn about the world. And he'd helped me learn to become a better writer. And he'd helped me learn what books I should read. Because I didn't even know what books to read. But I had my head in the game. And I knew a lot of what I didn't know, but I also knew that I needed to learn. And I wanted to learn. because I kept my head in the game. And that led me to be in a position that when I saw the penitentiary growing much more violent, in the time, the New York Times said the U.S. penitentiary in Atlanta was the most violent federal prison in the nation, I remember saying, it's time for me to go. But I didn't just want to go anywhere. So I had to get aware of opportunities. And one of the things that I did is I convinced my mentor, Bruce, to write an article with me and to use that article as a tool or a resource or a tactic that I could use to get some inside information on what's the best prison to go to. So he wrote an article in response to an article that I saw an educator in the Bureau of Prisons write, and that article opened the opportunity for Bruce to go down and meet somebody in Washington, D.C., and that led him to be able to go tour federal prisons, and I got to learn where's the best prison. And that led me to McKean, Pennsylvania, Northeast Pennsylvania. And while I was in McKean, I continued this path of keeping my head in the game, of always working, and it's what led Professor DiIulio at Princeton to eventually bring a class from Princeton, and I got to teach those students while I was in about my 8th year of federal prison. And then after I got my master's degree and I began publishing, that led to hundreds, well, certainly tens of thousands of people becoming aware of my work while I was in prison. And because people became aware of my work, people started to research who I was, and it helped me build a stronger support network. And remember, that was my plan. Get an education, because if I got an education, I believed that people would see me as something different than just a coke dealer. It was contribute to society. Well, if I was publishing, I thought more people would be interested in me and I'd meet more people. And if I were meeting more people, I might build a stronger support network of people that could help me. And that's what led to a guy starting to research me, and he was doing some research and found out that I'd graduated from Shorecrest High School in 1982. That's where I graduated. And it led him to write a letter or do some research on Shorecrest High School. I don't know. People get motivated for different reasons. And this guy got motivated by reading something I wrote and published. He then reached out to Shorecrest, and it was 2002. And that was the year that they were kind of coordinating. Maybe it was 2001. I don't know. But he was recognizing they were coordinating our 20-year reunion from the high school. And there was a girl there. Her name was Carol. And she was coordinating the reunion. And I knew Carol because I went to school with her from 5th grade. But we weren't really friends. She was a lot smarter than I was and had the good sense to stay away from me. So, because I was a kid living on the edge, making a lot of bad decisions. And she was a good girl who was making good decisions. So Carol was coordinating the 20-year reunion, and this kid wrote a letter and said, is this the same Shorecrest High School where Michael Santos went to school? And Carol was the person coordinating the reunion, so she got the letter. And she wrote, yes, why are you asking? And that led her to learn that I was in prison, and she wrote me a letter. In that letter, she was kind of scolding me for selling cocaine and being a criminal. And I remember getting that letter and thinking to myself, yeah, I was a criminal when I was 20, but at the time I was probably 35 or 36. I don't remember how old I was. I was 2002, so 64, 74, 84, 94. 2004, I would have been 40. I was older. I guess I was like 37. And she wrote me this letter, and I wrote her back, and that started a correspondence, and then it started a friendship, and then that led to a romance, and it led to us getting married inside of a federal prison visiting room on, I don't remember. When did we get married? June 24th, 2003. My wife's in the other room. And I remember sitting after we fell in love, and I kind of told her about this whole program that you guys are going through, the Straight A Guide, Staying Aware. And I remember holding up my hands. I said, in 5 years, if you do what I say and you live according to these principles, in 5 years, your life will be fundamentally different than it is today. And that conversation led to her becoming a nurse. And she had to go through everything. She had to become a CNA, which is a certified nurse's aide, then a licensed vocational nurse. Then she became a registered nurse. Then she got her master's degree in nursing. And then she became a nursing professor. But I always told her the plan is not for you to be a nurse. It's for you to work with me. And I just want you to be a nurse so that you've got the ability to earn a living wherever we go. And it was actually her idea to become a nurse. I just had to figure out ways to earn a living and pay for it, even though I was in prison. But because I was aware, and I always had my head in the game, I figured out ways to get an education, build a career, create income opportunities, even while I was serving 26 years in federal prison. And because I could do that, she could go to school and become a nurse. And then it was about making the world aware of me as well, right? Because I was writing all the time and I was studying all the time, I built this support system of people coming to visit me in prison and professors coming to visit me in prison, and then having tens of thousands of people read my work. And it didn't only lead to me finding the love of my life, even though I was locked in prison, but it also led me to create a number of business opportunities that have generated millions of dollars in revenues and even millions of dollars in earnings. And to creating businesses where I get to go back into prisons and kind of teach people the secrets that work for me. So I can tell you the secrets, but it's up to you to keep your head in the game and stay aware. And that's why I'm now going to turn to the quiz, because I want you to be aware of the answer of the questions I'm going to ask, and I want you to know how to answer the questions, because I want you to be accountable. So what's awareness? In what ways is the concept of awareness bigger than simply our perspective? Here are your options. 1, staff members stay aware of which people they should reward and which people they should punish. 2, our awareness of how the prison operates helps us to influence how other people treat us. 3, by staying aware of how the prison operates, we can position ourselves for better seating assignments. In what ways is the concept of awareness bigger than simply our perspective? Here's the correct answer, because all those are wrong. Besides helping to stay aware of opportunities we can seize to grow, other people in the world become aware of our commitment to succeed. And then they have a vested interest in helping us. That's the right answer. And that's why awareness is bigger than simply a perspective. Number 2, what strategies did the author find most helpful in being aware of opportunities to prepare for success while in prison? 1, hanging out. No. 2, watching television. No. 3, playing lots of table games and learning how to run trump and learning how to slam those dominoes down on the table like it happens in jails and prisons. But the answer to that also is no. Well, the strategies the author that found most helpful is to set clear goals that align with the values he used to define success. I can't tell you how many times that strategy opened opportunities for me, not only while I was in prison, but since I've come home. And there's a lot of stories about that in the book, Earning Freedom, that I hope that you are taking to heart. Because it's, there's this one story I'll tell you. And then when I finished my prison sentence in 2013, and I had an opportunity to go start selling these programs. One of the first places I went was Washington State. And I was sitting inside of Washington State and I was trying to sell this program. And I remember the Secretary of Corrections was there, and I'm making this presentation and I'm all suited up. And I mean, nice suits and everything. And I'm sitting in his office, or I'm standing in his office, and I give this whole presentation. And I remember the secretary looking at me like I was like the gorilla who learned how to talk, just like that, And he says to me, after I making my presentation, he says, well, how did this happen? And I said, what do you mean? And he said, how did you serve 26 years in prison and come out like this. And I told him, I said, isn't that ironic? And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, you're the secretary of the entire state's prison system. And when you see somebody come back strong, ready to function, you don't say, what a great job we're doing. Instead, you kind of wonder, this isn't normal. And I said, and that's the problem. We need more programs to teach more people in prison that they can become something far better, so that it's normal that people come out of prison and they're ready to crush it. And that was how I got one of my first orders from the Washington State Department of Corrections. So set clear goals. Make sure that your goals align with your values that you use to define success. Number 3, vocabulary word time. I didn't know this word when I went to prison. Maybe you do. I didn't. What does the word onus mean? Straightforward and direct. Not erect, direct. That's one of the options. Number 2, something that is a duty or responsibility. 3, if we concentrate, we can make days, weeks, and months seem like they passed faster. 4, our future doesn't depend on the number of calendar pages that turn. Well, that's not the right answer. The right answer of onus is it's a duty or a responsibility. You have the onus to prepare for success upon release. Remember that. Okay? That's 3. Okay, I got to throw that over here. Here's number 4. What strategy would you say is least likely to make future employers aware of the value you can provide? The least likely. Option 1. Journal about the specific steps you took during prison to learn new skills. Is that likely or unlikely to help you persuade an employer to hire you? Write book reports that show what you've learned from books you've read. What do you think? Building relationships with law-abiding people that will write endorsements or testimonial letters about you. 4, building a reputation as a prison shot caller. I don't think people give a crap about that. So that's the right answer. That's the least likely to help you succeed upon release. In my view, maybe you got a different view. I'm not the answer to everything, but if you want to pass this quiz, remember that's the right answer. Number 5, in Success After Prison, how did the author describe the relationship between the decisions he made in prison and the ability to persuade a real estate developer to sell him a house? The author didn't write anything about buying a house in his book. That's the wrong answer, because real estate's played a big part of my career since I've come home. Number 2, the author wrote that he didn't want to buy a house after his release because he thought it would be better to focus on buying a super cool car. No, that's not the answer. 3, the author wrote that when he told the real estate developer that he wanted to buy a house after his release from prison, the real estate developer laughed at him. Well, that's probably true, but it's not the right answer. The right answer is, the author wrote that while he served his prison term, he began cultivating a relationship with the developer. And by cultivating that relationship, he built trust. He later relied upon the trust he had developed to persuade the developer to finance the purchase of the author's first house. That's the answer. Number 6, in Success After Prison, the author wrote about a job that opened for him as a result of his commitment to awareness. What job opened for him while he was in the halfway house? Well, here are 4 possibilities. An investment bank offered him a job in business development. 2, a restaurant offered him a job as a short order cook. 3, a publishing company offered him a job as an editor. Or 4, San Francisco State University hired him to teach as a professor. That's the right answer. Next question. What is not one of the concepts of awareness as defined in this module? 1, when we keep our head in the game, we become aware of opportunities we can seize. 2, when we keep our head in the game, we become aware of opportunities we can create. 3, when we keep our head in the game, others become aware of our commitment to success. Or 4, when we keep our head in the game, staff members in prison give us more privileges. That's the right answer, because I don't care about that. I care about the others. Create opportunities, seize opportunities, make others aware of your reason for being successful. Number 8, In Success After Prison. I hope you read that book. The author wrote about opportunities that opened as a result of his commitment to awareness while in prison. Which of the following was not one of those opportunities? A, adjustment in prison helped him to become a real estate investor. Well, that's true, so we can rule that one out. 2, adjustment in prison helped him to launch business opportunities. Well, that's true, so we can rule that one out. Number 3, adjustment in prison led to purchase orders for his business from federal judges, from prosecutors, from probation officers, and prison officials. I can't tell you how much money I've gotten in purchase orders from those people, but it's several $100,000, I can tell you that. So that's not the answer. The answer is adjustment in prison led to a full scholarship to graduate school so he could earn a master's degree. Now remember that, because that's kind of a trick question. I did get a master's degree when I was in prison, but I didn't get a scholarship for it. Other people paid for it. That's number 8. Here's number 9. What does the word absolve mean? That's another word that I don't know. I didn't know the answer to. It's a commonly used or practiced tactic. Wrong answer. 2, the act of beginning something new. Wrong answer. Without hope. Wrong answer. Here is the correct answer for the word absolve. It means to free from blame or responsibility. And that comes to the last question of module number 8, number 10. Which of the following shows correct usage of the word indefatigable? That's a big word. The new rims I put on my car make it indefatigable. No, that's the wrong answer. 2, people know I am indefatigable because I can sleep 18 hours a day. No, that's not the right answer. People believe I am indefatigable because I live a values-based, goal-oriented life. Well, I do live a values-based, goal-oriented life, but that doesn't have anything with being indefatigable. 3, people know I'm indefatigable because I spend at least 18 hours each day working toward the goals I set. That's why I'm indefatigable, and that's the right answer. Why are you indefatigable? Figure that out, and then become even more energetic. Make sure that you don't run out of energy. It's up to you to become successful, and it's up to you to prepare for success upon release. And I hope that you're enjoying this course of preparing for success after release. I also hope you participate in the new course we have in CDCR, which is Journaling 101. I think you'll really dig that. I'm Michael Santos. On behalf of our entire team at Prison Professors, we believe in you, and we hope that you'll continue working to succeed. Thanks.